Mr. Ross Davenport.
Hello, Charlie. How are you, my man?
Long time no see.
Did you enjoy your week off?
I did. It's always weird. Having a week off is weird. I was on last Monday, wondering, damn, I should be doing a podcast. How do I do it?
You didn't go on vacation or anything? You didn't make the most of your time off? Did we get paid for our time off? Was it paid vacation?
I don't think so, Russ. This is the USA.
Well, first of all, we do have to say that Paul Holmes had to bail on us at the last minute. He had a very important dinner that got rescheduled at the last minute. So it had to do with fundraising, and he couldn't miss it. So we're going to have Paul on next week.
But let's give him credit because
he was very communicative. Yes.
No, but he said he would still come on, like interrupting his dinner. But we just decided it wasn't the best way to have him, so we'll have him next week.
So we'll have Paul on next week. He has a lot to say, obviously, with his involvement with the Tens, etc. His history with Tiger Rugby, involvement with pro rugby back in the day. His coaching, he's played everywhere around the world, coached all over the world. So please tune in next week to talk to Paul Holmes. To hear from Paul Holmes, I should say. If you have any questions for him as well, you can jump on next week.
And also, very important, he's living in Florida now. That's one of the reasons.
He's living in Lakeland.
That's one of the main reasons we also have him, because he's a local now. He's one of us. He's one of us.
How did we find out, Charlie? I saw him in one of your photos on the.
Yeah.
I said that looks like Paul Holmes. No, I think I saw him. No, you know what it was? It was on social media. He was posting a lot in Lakeland. Then I saw he was visiting the Inter Miami facility at some point before the pandemic. I assume in regards to MLR potential. And I was like, is Paul Holmes living in Florida? Because he originally, Tiger Rugby was set up in Ohio, and then they were in Georgia for a little while, and he keeps moving further and further south, but he's got a good relationship with IMG in Bradenton, who have hosted a lot of his camps with Tiger Rugby. So we'll talk to Paul next week. So please hang out with us if you want to hang out. We're just going to talk some general bullshit. I'm allowed to curse a little bit on here.
Well, we did have some other stuff to talk about also.
Yeah, we took a week off, so there is some news to catch up on. So let's get to our first bits of news, Charlie. Lindenwood women, they played live in the D1A Elite National Championship a couple of Saturdays ago. It was last Saturday. It was this past Saturday, the 6th.
This past one, yeah.
It was. And they won their third straight D1 championship with a 54-12 win over Life.
Very happy, the ladies.
Congratulations to that lady there on the bottom right. Morgan Freeman, former Ruckus FAU Fort Miami player, who vice captain of the team, played 9, started. So she's done it. She's done at Lindenwood, ends there with 3 national titles. Not too bad, right, Charlie?
Yeah. So she started with the Ruckus here in high school?
She did. She used to play for Ruckus, yeah. And then went to play for FAU and then Fort Miami. And then now at Lindenwood. So I tried to get her on the show tonight, but she said she was practicing sevens all day and has a team dinner tonight right now. So she couldn't join us this evening. Maybe we'll try and get her on next week just to talk about her experience at Lindenwood, and definitely the most dominant women's rugby team at the moment on the collegiate side of things in the country. So congratulations to Morgan for winning that. It was 29-12 early second half, and then they scored 25 straight points to finish it off. So it was a pretty ugly scoreline. That's the second time. Well, I think it might be the third time they've whooped the Running Eagles. Chris Vassell.
Where's Chris?
I don't know. They played him back in February and won 39-17, then played him again in March and won 51-0. This was the third time they've played Life this season. And Life, I'm sure they'll be back. It's all cyclical, right, Charlie? It comes and goes.
Oh, yeah.
So,
You have to enjoy. When you do have that nice run, you have to really enjoy it,
100%.
And I remember that season that the FIU boys came to that team that eventually went on to win the Cirque. And that was a team that had been building for a little bit, and I remember they had that in mind because they knew they could do it, and it's it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, you never know whether it's going to be, it takes you a couple of years to build things up, then you got to enjoy those 1 or 2 years normally when you have that success. So congratulations to Morgan. Also, congratulations to Malachi Esdale. Now, Malachi, former Naples youth, former UCF. He was playing for the Houston SaberCats last year in MLR and decided to give sevens a go during the pandemic. Went out to California and spent time with the squad there, living with Mike Friday and the boys. And Mike Friday, who we had back in the fall on our show. You can check that out on the archives, rugbyfl.com. Where can they find that on there, Charlie? TFRO just on the YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
On the YouTube channel, you can scroll back and see all the previous episodes. Mike Friday was on the Perry Baker episode.
Yeah.
As a surprise guest. So the USA, Malachi's been on the fringes. He was part of the sort of inter-squad scrimmages they had a couple of months ago. And there was no sign of him in Houston. So it was clearly things were going well with the sevens side. And they're having an international rugby sevens this weekend. It was only, I think, announced earlier this week or last week.
Last week.
They named a 14-man squad. So pretty much the normal size squad they named for any tournament. And Malachi is in the squad, the only uncapped player in the USA Eagles squad. So this Saturday through Tuesday at St. George's Park in England, it'll be, I think it's Ireland as well as USA and England, I think. So they're going to have that, and then they're going to play in that competitive training tournament they're doing at the end of June in Los Angeles. They haven't announced many details about that yet. So congratulations to Malachi Esdale looks like he's part of the squad now. I'm not sure if they have anybody injured that's sort of on the fringes, but hopefully Malachi turns out.
Perry for one.
Yeah, well, Perry's injured for sure. He's not going to be back for a while, though.
No, but I think I've seen him training very hard, and he'll probably be for the Olympics, right? The Olympics are in September.
No, next month, Charlie, I think, isn't it? No?
Really?
No, they got the qualifying. Is it September? I thought it was not next month. July, I thought I had. Late July, early August. The repechage is coming up.
I'm getting a message here, just so you know, from Gavin, that he's at training and he was trying to get connected and he's having trouble.
He's on that crappy cell phone service in Weston, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But yeah, Perry might be back for the Olympics. That was the concern when he hurt his leg, that he wasn't going to be back for the Olympics. But I'm sure if anybody's going to work hard enough to get back in, he will. It'll be Perry. I see Gavin trying to get in here, but I see a blank white screen at the moment.
Yeah.
So congratulations to both Malachi and Morgan Freeman, to Florida Rugby Products. Although I'll give England some credit for producing Morgan as well, because she did learn the game over there.
Yeah.
Speaking of USA, they announced this week that the men's 15s Eagles will face England in London on Independence Day, Charlie. Does it get any bigger than that?
And they haven't played for 2 years.
So the original Independence Day was what, 1776, Charlie? I think the score might be 777 to 6. No, I'm kidding. Maybe 77 to 6. But USA are going to go over to England and play England on July 4th, and then they'll also play, Ireland on the following Saturday. So Sunday, July 4th, and then Saturday, July 10th against Ireland in Dublin.
Have you seen a roster for that, for the USA?
I have not seen a roster yet. Still a couple of months away. Obviously, MLR going on right now, so MLR will be losing several athletes during that time, because they'll obviously be wanting to go play over there rather than play MLR. Speaking of MLR, the Giltinis lost finally, Charlie.
Yeah, nice.
To Rooney. Do we have a Miami MLR update? I was hoping we get one from Paul Holmes. Maybe we will next week. Maybe he'll be able to give us a sneak peek at any Miami MLR. I'm sure he can't say much if he does know much, but.
Well, let me tell you. I mean, one of the most interesting things that we were looking to talk to Paul is about this Tens World Series, right?
World Tens, yes.
That World Tens that is announced to be played all in Florida. That is like a very good thing for.
I think so. I mean, that's all we know. I heard there was some rumors today of potential stadiums being NFL stadiums. That seems perhaps a little, what's the word I'm looking for? little large. There's plenty of college stadiums that could. I mean, FAU is a good college stadium. FIU is decent. UCF has a nice college stadium. I think the college stadiums might be more better choice, or some of the soccer stadiums, Orlando City Stadium, perhaps
Inter Miami
Stadium. But yeah, I think the 15 to 20,000 venues, as opposed to the 50 to 70,000 venues, might be a little more cost effective for the sevens. But yeah, hopefully we'll hear some more details from Paul. I'm not sure how much he can tell us. The minimum has been promoted right so far. He hasn't said much on social media or on the website about it. Yeah. So hopefully he'll be able to give us a little bit of a nugget. That's what they call it, Charlie. A little bit of breaking news nugget next week when we have him on Tuesday. All right. Gavin keeps trying to come on. I keep just seeing a white screen. Gavin is failing miserably at trying to jump in. But the reason we're going to have Gavin on is to give us an update on the Florida Jaguares. Now, for those that don't know, the Florida Jaguares. Now, I'm not sure whether to consider them an all-star team, a representative side, an academy side. They are allegedly like the first, USA Rugby approved academy side, developmental side in Florida. So either way, we're going to call them a representative side. They're going to have 16s and 19s in there. They've been going for the last 3 or 4 weeks, Charlie? Every weekend.
4 weeks at least.
Differing venues, trying to figure this team out, who they're going to take up to. The original plan is to go up to Atlanta on May 29th to play the Georgia 16s and 19s before the before the Rugby ATL game on the 29th. Now, they've also decided to have the week before that is not going to happen. The Atlanta thing, Atlanta thing is not happening. Oh man, I know they were supposed to be originally on the 15th, which is partly why I was going up there this weekend. I still am. Something with the Georgia Union and clearance to play up there. I assume that's still the issue.
Yeah, and I think they were not going to play. Originally, they were going to play like a warm up game to the MLR game, but that wasn't happening either. Oh, there we have Gavin now. Let's bring him in because he can talk us through this.
We do have Gavin McLeavy. He's not the head coach. What is your official title?
He has a big head, so
he does. Gavin, I don't know if he can hear us.
Oh, I think he hasn't plugged in his earphones. So
he's just staring into space. He looks very serious right now. Gavin, can you hear us?
Not really, no. But go ahead. See, I can hear the occasional word.
Man, it's like you're in the middle of the Everglades or something.
No, well, yeah, basically, I'm in Western, which is middle of the Everglades.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, while we've got you, what is your official title with the Jaguares? Oh, and he's gone.
It is nice to have somebody that is on the sideline of a practice, right?
It is. What practice is this? Is it Jaguares practice or is it U19? So who's practicing right now?
I asked him. It's the U19s and 16s. I don't know. They just practice.
He's just keeping the kids out of trouble. He's keeping the Western kids out of trouble. From looting places on Western Drive.
Well, when a practice is fun, you just you go to practice all year round.
You do
if you can.
You do. I see. We have another special guest that's getting his camera ready. He's sorting himself out in the hills of South Carolina. Nigel Platt. We'll get to him in a second. So the Jaguares. So Charlie, you're saying they're not playing in Atlanta on the 29th, but instead they've got this big weekend festival of rugby in Jacksonville, of all places. The place where we're blessed with so many quality referees in Florida, Charlie, at the moment. Zero referees in Jacksonville, but we'll figure it out.
You're the only one that cares about the referees. The rest of us just want to play rugby, and have a referee.
You can play unsanctioned rugby all you like. Ask Nigel. He'll tell you. But Charlie, there are going to be a ton of games. So Charlie's going to post a list here of the teams as an official and a sponsor. Speaking of sponsors, we don't have a sponsor this week.
I was going to tell you, hey, what about the sponsors? We haven't talked about the
sponsors, but no.
They're just about to come in. Hopefully.
So as you can see there, the 121 Financial Credit Union, whatever that is sponsoring the Florida Rugby. All right, here we go, Charlie. The name has changed. You scroll down the screen, and the name has already changed.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
It's either the Invitational Rugby Showcase or it's the Rugby Invitational Showcase. It's one of the two. If you're dyslexic or not, it's one of the two.
It's pretty close. Pretty close.
Let's just call it the Florida Showcase because nobody can decide whether rugby's first or invitational's first. But
yeah,
I don't know why they call it an invitational. Anybody that wants to come, I'm sure, could have played. But there's going to be a ton of games. Charlie, show us the invited teams. I guess we can call them invited teams. So, boys, U19, Charlotte Tigers, which Nigel can tell us about in a minute. Their JV team lost to Okapi a few weeks ago when they went on that tour up there. Jacksonville Wolverines Black, the Florida Jaguares, which is the all-star side for Florida, and the Raleigh Redhawks from North Carolina.
We have to mention that the Charlotte Tigers and U19s are one of the highest ranked teams in the nation. So
yeah, Nigel's going to fill us in on that.
Yeah, probably. And these
the girls,
the Raleigh Redhawks is also a very strong team. So this is going to be a really good experience for these kids.
It should be a very good test for Florida.
Yeah.
This is an all-star team versus club side. So you would hope the state all-star team would be okay, but they obviously haven't played much together. This will be their first competitive matches they play against other teams. So it'll be interesting to see. On the girls' the girls U19 side of things, they're playing a 10-a-side. So the Charlotte Tigers will be playing. We'll have a Wellington-Jacksonville combined team. We'll have the Aspetuck rugby team from Connecticut. And we'll have the Raleigh Redhawks women. Oh, there's Gavin back again.
Let's see if he can hear us. You don't have headphones, Gavin?
He doesn't have a Wi-Fi connection.
I think I can hear you now.
All right, Gavin, what is your official position with the Jaguares before we get to... Gavin, can you hear us? You're bloody useless. What?
Sorry, guys. Love you, but can't hear anything. I'll leave you to it. My apologies.
Get out of here with your useless technology. What do you got, a freaking Motorola Razor? Useless, that boy. Useless.
Well,
anyway, let's get back to what we were doing, Charlie. Let's get back to our team list.
We have an interview I did to him on Saturday, so we can play that. Just so we...
You want to play it now, or you want to play it at the end?
Yeah, well, maybe actually we can play it because he talks about what was happening this last Saturday. They had announced that they were going to pick the roster.
Yes.
And then what happened? This was in Fort Myers, and they just couldn't pick the full 30 players, so they picked 20 from the 16s and 20 from the 19s.
So we got 2/3 of teams.
They're gonna finish that process this coming Saturday in Naples. So yeah, let's. We're here with Gavin McClively, head coach of the Florida Jaguares. Jaguares. Con J. It's actually J.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. Okay. So congratulations. I thought you guys were going to be done today, but you still have another week. How hard has been the process? And what is your overall assessment of the process and how's the team looking?
Yeah, it's been really interesting actually. I've got a lot of kids that have surprised me. Some kids that maybe during the season or Cappy that I coach normally haven't played against, so I genuinely didn't see them. That they sort of didn't pop up on my radar. But the other coaches had spoke about them, and I've finally gotten to see them. So that's been a phenomenal part of it. There was one kid today turned up, he got injured late in the season, and this was actually his first session, and I was almost about to put his name right down. I'm like, I don't know if I'm comfortable putting his name down after one training session. We're like 4 or 5 weeks deep in this now.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting. That for me, that's been the highlight of it. These kids that just I didn't know who they were, and now we've got them sort of running with all kids from different places. And for me, the process over the last 3-4 weeks of seeing the kids bond a little bit, even though they're in the season they're beating each other up, and then in this game, in these sessions they're beating each other up quite a bit as well, and now they're beginning to bond because they realize, hey, we're getting down to crunch time, and yeah, they've started to become buddies and teammates. This is
I was just thinking something that is also as if we keep on doing this year after year, it is something that's gonna like help throughout the season among the teams, right? Because
Absolutely.
now the kids have friends that they have been, on the same side on the field, and they have to play against.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a huge piece of it as well. Now, what I did mention today to one of the other coaches, I was talking with Chris Spies, I think this is something we should do one Sunday a month during the season. If we can get guys together like that, nothing majorly official, but games where we can play a bit of touch together, can train together, and we get to know these kids. Because even in this 3-week session, I've gotten to know a few kids that in the beginning I was like, bad attitude, and now they're like, oh, okay, I get the kid now. It's a mental sort of friendship you start making with them and all of that. So
not sure if the parents are going to be very happy with that idea.
Well, that's true. That's fair. But even splitting it north and south, like we were doing in the first couple of weeks, that might be a good option. But yeah, those kids that are dedicated, they're going to show up. So that's kind of my thought process. The ones that are keen, let them get more game time and more practice together.
Well, we're really looking forward to your tournament because you have some really tough you have Tigers, Charlotte Tigers, and this other team from Raleigh. I've seen in these so-called rankings that they're pretty high. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a really good experience for these kids because...
Yeah, I think there's a lot of kids that we made some selections today, and there's maybe 4 or 5 kids that need to coach up a little bit. They've physically got the right idea, they've got the right attitude, and we need to spend some time tweaking and sort of teaching them, right? So there's I've got a lot of flankers and second row forwards that technically they haven't quite got it, but they've got all of the tools. So we can spend a week or 2 polishing those tools, and we might have a pretty solid team, I think.
Okay. You did tell me you were vaccinated, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
No match today, sorry.
Okay. So thank you very much. Good luck. We'll be following you, and hopefully we maybe even be going to Jacksonville for that.
That would be great. It wouldn't be a tournament in Florida without you there, Charlie.
Maybe. Maybe we need a sponsor.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
Thank you, Gavin.
You're welcome, mate. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Good stuff. He likes to talk, does Gavin. Even you're muted, Charlie. I can't hear you.
Sorry.
Now I can. He likes to talk, does Gavin, even with that dirty northern accent of his. He's a good man, though. Yeah, this exciting stuff. This big tournament on the 22nd and 23rd. Bring those teams up again. Bring those teams up again, Charlie, while we're talking.
Yeah, it is. I and we are like supporting this because I don't know if you recall any time in the past something like this, like postseason.
No, I mean normally the RCTs are the first time that the kids get to play anybody else, which is the Charlie was asking what maybe bring Nigel in. Maybe Nigel can answer me what RC after you. What are you doing here? Oh, there they are. Let's go. Let's finish these, and then we'll bring Nigel in. So boys U16s, Charlotte Tigers JV, again, who lost to a copy a few weeks ago when they went up there. The Jaguares U16s, Raleigh Redhawks U16s, and the Jacksonville Wolverines Red. Jacksonville Wolverines, obviously one of the better teams over the last couple of years in Florida rugby. And then U14s, Charlotte bringing everybody. They're just bringing everybody, Charlie. Anybody that wants to play rugby.
Even they're bringing those Charlotte mixed U14s at the end. Did you see those?
I did. Charlotte. So we have a Florida mixed U14s because U14s have struggled a little bit with the numbers this year, and then Charlotte as well bringing a mix of U14s teams. You want to talk about our giveaway before we get into?
You know what? I was actually going to suggest we do the giveaway next week.
Do it next week. Okay, let's do it next week when we have a few more viewers.
It makes more, exactly. It makes more sense because it was a little bit. Let's do that.
All right, let's bring in Nigel Platt, my counterpart.
I will just for promotion for next week show what we're going to give away.
Look at that sexy hat.
It is, right? Sexy.
Is it previously worn by Chris Vassell? Because that increases the value if it is.
Nah, I don't know. That is one that Teddy sent because he's coming. He's
now, is Valentina going to enter? If Valentina wins, are we going to allow that? I think we will.
Valentina,
she's got plenty of swag.
No, she has one, so she doesn't need one of those.
All right, Nigel Platt. Let's bring him in, Charlie. Let's talk to Nigel, my counterpart from SIRS. Oh, I know he's there.
Does he do this? He has the same function as you.
He is this referee assigner for SIRS.
Okay, Nigel, can you hear us?
Loud and clear, gentlemen. Loud and clear.
Okay.
Nigel, good to see you as always. How are things up in the woods of South Carolina?
Well, today we all went crazy because apparently there's no gas.
I was talking to you on the phone and you said there was lines for gas. I said there's no such lines here, and then I realized it was just the supply chain issue across that sort of swath of the South from Virginia to Louisiana, apparently, and South Carolina right in the middle of that. So I'll be there this weekend. There better be gas up there this weekend.
Yeah, it's supposed to be back to normal by Friday.
Oh, okay.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
I'll gas up in Jacksonville before I cross the state line, just in case. So Nigel can tell us a little bit about some of these teams that are coming to play in Jacksonville. Obviously, you know, as Floridians, we don't see too many. We see the occasional touring side come, but not so much from the South. It's normally English touring sides. That tend to come over and want to go to Disney World, and then we'll go play some rugby at the same time. We haven't had obviously any in a couple of years since the pandemic. But Nigel, what can you tell us about? Well, obviously, tell us about Charlotte Tigers. We know they're good. How good are they?
You're in for a shock.
Listen, we always say to teams, look, wait till you get outside of Florida, and then we'll see how good you are. Charlotte Tigers. Well, tell us a little bit about the Charlotte Tigers program. They've been going for a while, and
yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is they're bearing the fruits of starting very young. The Charlotte Junior Rugby Association starts the youngsters off under 8s, under 10s, U12s, U14s, and they progress up. The Tigers are actually a club side, so they're from all different schools within the Charlotte area. They all play single school rugby in the fall, which culminates normally with their single school finals in February, although this year was a little different. They played sevens, masked sevens, which was interesting. And then they all go off and join various clubs.
Gotcha.
And Charlotte Tigers, I can't remember how many schools they're made up with. I don't want to do them an injustice, but there's like 6 or 7 different schools, or maybe more, where all the kids have come from.
So a little different system than we have in Florida. We don't really play any high school rugby in the fall. Mostly because of football, which I know is reasonably big up there, but I think rugby's had a slightly longer foothold in the Carolinas than it has down here. We obviously have only one single school team at the moment. That's Cardinal Gibbons, state champions. And they've reached 2 finals as well. Everybody else is club side. We have had some single schools come and go in the past, but nobody seemed to be able to hang on. So Charlotte Tigers are sort of an all-star team of their own. I assume they pull from the local teams, and then the best kids make the A side.
Pretty much. And I mean, there's a reason they've been ranked the number 1 high school club team in the country ever since the rankings came out. I've had the pleasure of running around with them a couple of times. And when I say running around, I mean running around.
So what about Raleigh? What can we expect from them?
I officiated Raleigh last weekend, actually, and they're an exceptionally well-drilled team as well. They've got a couple of brothers at 9 and 10 who pretty much run the show, and they're both very skilled, of South African heritage, both very skilled. They have what we call the rugby noose, so they know what to do, when to do it, and so on and so forth, which makes a big difference to a team.
Oh, at the high school level, no doubt. There's the teams you can see listed there. This is Jaguares highlights, Charlie. Is this some tryout stuff?
This is at the practice last Saturday.
This 19s or 16s?
19s.
This is 19s. Yeah, it's exciting stuff, Nigel. When did you find out about this tournament? Because it's sort of been, the rumors have been coming, and then.
I was actually told about it a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago. You're asking me, I'm old. I can't remember what I did yesterday. Because the various schedule where the Tigers were going and so on and so forth. I helped them. They went up north, up to West Virginia. I helped them get a couple of referees on their travels. They played in Norfolk, Virginia, and I helped them get a referee there through my contacts, of course.
Of course.
People like you, Ross.
Yes.
Well, Ross, now you have to ask Nigel if he can lend you some referees, because I think you're going to have.
Well, we already, that was what our discussion was earlier today. He wants to send some refs down. We've got 14 matches on Saturday and then 11 matches on Sunday. So it's going to be a very busy weekend. I assume it's going to be hot. I hope nobody's having to rent a car, because car rentals right now are ridiculous. I just tried to rent a car in Atlanta this weekend at $250 a day. So that's not happening.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. But
Well,
no, good stuff.
Ross, talk to me tomorrow where you need to go from point A to point B in Atlanta, and I'll hook you up.
Oh, all right. I'll give you a call tomorrow, Nigel.
Yeah.
Well, Nigel, you and I had a good chat earlier today. We obviously just talked about a difference between youth rugby here and youth rugby in the Carolinas. You also mentioned that sort of all-star teams, representative sides, are going away in the Carolinas. Can you sort of explain that? And I think this is a part of what's going on around most of the country with these academies. Hasn't quite really reached Florida here. But sort of explain to us why you're going the other way than we are.
Well, there's all the various academies, ERA and Tiger and a couple of others that are running these academies, which are a pathway, obviously, hopefully towards, international duties, etc. The RCTs pretty much died a death. Well, obviously they didn't do anything last year, but the year previous. And it wasn't necessarily the best players turning up at the RCTs. And with these academies, hopefully it's attracting the best players to make it. And a lot of them are invited to these camps. And they're looking at running various tournaments at these camps. I know one was slated for Elkhart, Indiana last year, and I do believe it's still going to take place this year. I don't actually have the exact dates, and that's an ERA event.
Yeah, it seems to be a mess. I mean, it's going back to the old 15s versus 7s thing, isn't it? With some areas of the country playing one at one time of the year and one at another time of the year, and academies versus, all-star teams now. And we've had problems here this year with trying to get 7s going in the summer, but a lot of the kids are trying out for Jaguares, and so they've pushed 7s tournaments back. And I can only imagine for the selectors, it's a major pain in the backside, just trying to figure out where the best kids will be and how. I mean, I know Brendan Keane, who I'm working with a little bit with the U18s, is really trying to streamline it, and especially get the kids that, because like for the Jaguares, for example, you could only take a certain amount of scrum halves. Is the third best scrum half in Florida going to make the team? Probably, maybe. The fourth best probably isn't, but he could have a lot of potential, and somebody could see something in him that might get him to leapfrog. And we don't have these academies here. We don't even. This Jaguares thing is sort of the first thing that's been approved as an academy. But I go to Vegas and I see these academies coming from all over the West Coast. I'm just wondering how they sort of work with their single school. But I was interesting that I learned with you today that they play single school in the fall, which we don't even play any high school rugby in the fall. Hopefully that changes down the road. But football, is such a dominant. I mean, Cardinal Gibbons have 2 players that I think could play representative rugby, no problem. But they're not playing with the Jaguares because they went straight from the championship game to play spring football. And it's a shame because, hopefully some of these best athletes, understand the opportunities that rugby can give you. Not everybody's going to make the NFL. A lot of these kids, they will make a college football roster, perhaps sit on the bench for 2 years. And hopefully like Alex Tucci, when we talked to him in the fall, he was a guy that played college football, but then would sneak away in the spring to go play rugby without telling his coach. And you see where that's got him. He's playing MLR. So it's just.
There are pluses. There are pluses to playing multiple sports, and I'm a big proponent of all girls and boys should be multi-sport talented or participants.
Yeah, rugby, doesn't really conflict with football. I know they have this spring football, but we purposely play here in the spring, so it doesn't, conflict with the football schedule. But yeah, listen, youth rugby is still at the infancy stage here.
I mean, at the moment, there's the big conflict here. It's not just the football; it's the wrestling.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's what Cardinal Gibbons, they got their wrestlers halfway through the season, and they lost I think they lost 3 of their first 4 games without their wrestlers. And once they got their wrestlers back, they won every game. And listen, Charlie and I will go on for days about the style of rugby that they play. But the fact is they have some big boys, and they focus on that side of the game.
If it's effective and it works, why change it?
No, what's got to change is the coaching from the other teams, Charlie. You and I argue about this all the time. The coaching on the other side of teams needs to change.
They have to adapt.
Key Biscayne can play all the pretty rugby they want, but if they don't have the bodies, they just get beat down in the end.
You can relate to this, Ross. Look at Exeter.
100%.
Anything inside your opponent's 22, you know what's coming.
Well,
what's coming, but not many teams can stop it, if any.
No, the World Cup final. Not that I've ever watched it again, but that was just a prime example of we knew it was coming as England, and we couldn't do anything about it. It was just bish bosh rugby. And listen, there'll always be room for the Frances of the world, and the fun rugby that they play. But yeah, these days it's about there's so many great athletes and not many missed tackles. It's just getting to that gain line and getting over the gain line, and to do that, you need to have big boys.
All right. Can I just mention the Charlotte Tigeresses?
The Charlotte Tigeresses, yeah. Let's talk about girls rugby, because girls rugby here is struggling right now, to say the least. We didn't have any games this year, so I want to see what they're doing right up there.
I mean, and again, this is stemmed from the Charlotte Junior Rugby all the way up, the girls, and they've got their own exclusive team who I believe won the Big Sevens event down in Florida recently.
Tropical Sevens, yeah.
Yeah. And they are very, very well drilled, well coached team all the way through 1 through 15. They've had a couple of players already signed, commitments to various teams. I know one is going over. I'm sure Di has got something to do with this, but she's going over to.
We need to get Di Young on. He was on briefly from France, wasn't he, Charlie? On an episode back in the.
Who? Sorry.
Di Morgan.
Oh, Di Morgan. Yeah, we had him. We had him once early in the early.
He was live from France. Yeah. No, the girl. So, is it girls rugby? There is within the existing clubs, Nigel?
Yes, absolutely, and it's flourishing. Some clubs are obviously more successful than others in recruiting numbers. I'll give you an example of the local club here in South Carolina, Wando. I mean, they started off with 5 girls 2 Augusts ago, so not last year, the year before. They've now got like 50 odd girls signed up.
Wow,
and that's Charleston.
Yeah, they're out there. It's just a case of you've got girls that are playing flag football. You've got girls that are playing soccer that play these contacts. Well, not flag football is not a contact sport, but it's a hand-eye coordination running sport similar to rugby. And it's just a case of here we've had teams come and go, but they just haven't for whatever reason it hasn't been able to stick.
Right. Well,
the existing clubs I think need to step up.
I think part of the reason is. Parent coaches. That was
yes.
What my perspective is, and when I say that, it's that if your kid is playing, you're more inclined to want to be involved if you've been involved with rugby.
Yeah.
But the moment your kid graduates, the parents graduate and disappear as well. Now the 2 teams, Charlotte Tigeresses and Wando, have independent coaches. They don't have a kid in the game. Well, that's not true. Wando one of the coaches has 2 young ladies, but she's the most passionate person I know about girls rugby.
Yes,
high school girls.
It is all about finding the coaches. That's where it starts. A club like Okapi, for example, they have the existing infrastructure in place. It's just about finding those coaches that want to commit to coaching girls rugby, and sometimes the headaches, that go along with that, especially with the injury side of things. A lot of these girls are scared to tackle. But we've seen the success that USA women's rugby has had over the years, and And obviously, you need the support from the union as well. That's been a matter of contention for certain people that want to try and get girls rugby going. Is that they don't see the support from the union. I can't really speak to that because I don't see what they go through, trying to get the support or what kind of support they're looking for. But I'm hoping some of the existing clubs, we give Okapi grief about it all the time. They've got this massive club, from U10s to 14, to 18s and the adults, but they don't have any women's stuff yet. And we get told, well, it's a culture thing. Have a heavily South American area. Their girls don't play sports. Unless it's soccer. That's
hockey.
Field hockey. Yeah. Right, Charlie. That's about it. You're South America. I mean, when you were growing up, let's see, that was 100 years ago. But how were female sports dealt with in South America back then, and are they any different today?
Oh, they're totally different today. And back then, very little.
I saw Aaron Church pop in.
Yes,
Charlie. Let's bring Aaron in.
Sure.
Aaron is the coach of the Jacksonville Wolverines. Aaron, how are you this evening?
Hi, Aaron.
I'm doing fine. How are you guys?
Good, thanks. Talk about how this event came together, and this is the first one of these you've had to do, and talk about some of the challenges of getting an event like this in place.
I'd say one of the biggest challenges right now, which is still ongoing, is making everybody happy.
It's impossible. It's impossible, Aaron. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't try.
I think we're on our third or fourth revision of the schedule, and we're still, changing things up, trying to get because everybody wants to play Charlotte, right? They're the top team. Everybody wants a crack or a go, so somebody's got to be left out or not get a chance at it. Charlotte wants to play one game a day. That's it.
So one 40-minute game.
No, they just want to play one full game.
Oh, they want to play a full game, but we're doing 40 minutes for these games, right? Is that right?
At
or
this
is Charlotte
point.
going to play 80s?
At this point.
At this point, that's the proposal, right? So I getting off the conversation with Eric Saxon up there at Charlotte, and they just want to play one 80-minute game, not 40. Right. So, I guess we're going back to the drawing board to try to make everybody happy again.
Maybe we play 40s on Saturday, and then you would hope that the Jaguares and Tigers come out of it on Saturday, on Sunday, and first, as the two better teams. You would think.
You would definitely think that. That's one of the challenges, but it came about because both Charlotte and Raleigh and Alfredo was in there at one point. All said they wanted to come to play us in Jacksonville. And it just so happened they all said they want to come down at the same time. So we're just like, well, Jacksonville can't play all three teams.
Let's do a tournament.
So let's make it a tournament, right? And so
it's exploded.
This is where we're at. But we're hoping we can really pull this off and make it successful to show that we can host a 15s tournament here in Florida and really propel rugby here in Florida, since we never get to go to the national tournament. None of the Florida teams ever seem to go.
We've had a few go in the past, and we've hosted national senior stuff here. And I'm not sure if Nigel was ever involved in that, but we've hosted, some serious
high school.
No, not high school. No, senior men's and women's, the Final Four, etc. It's been a while since we've hosted it, but I refed. I remember up in Central Florida somewhere, Sanford maybe. So we had the Final Four or the Final 8. I can't remember which it was.
Yeah, I
think this
might remember. Give the high school kids a lot more exposure on playing against some of the top competition, especially around the nation. See what it's like to play against Charlotte, and Raleigh's going to be coming down as well. So it really get a good look at what Florida kids can do outside of across the border, across the line.
Listen, that's you got to get out of the state to really expand your mind when it comes to rugby. I'm telling you.
Right. And we have a lot of kids that end up getting their first taste outside of Florida either they're playing with the Jaguares team or they just realize it in college. That was like their first competition. You know? So we're exposing them a little bit early. We're gonna have this live stream.
Nice.
Talk to your guy Marcus Wood. He's gonna be watching as well. We got some other college coaches that are coming down to watch it as well.
Good.
Jake Mizell and them are coming down.
Hang on, I'm on a live stream.
Mute that man, Charlie. Mute him. No, this is a great opportunity for college coaches because they know they're going to get to see.
Can you just cut it out a minute?
Charlie, mute him. There you go. They know they're going to. We should see most of the best players in Florida on the Jaguares teams.
Right.
So that's the only time you're going to get to see all of them in one place. You might be missing one or two here and there, as we talked about. With spring football taking some players away. Do you have to deal with that much, Aaron? Spring football taking away your guys?
Oh, a lot. Pretty much, I'd say 80% of my team's playing football. So practices have been very, very slim lately. As soon as after that Naples team, that was it. They started spring football practice, and we've got a pretty good relationship with the football coaches.
You have to
not really try to interfere with what they have going on in spring football. It's kind of an agreement. So we let them go ahead and do that sparingly, come to rugby when they can. And then when football ends, they let us recruit from there.
Good stuff. Well, as Chris Spies said, Aaron, good work putting this all together. I know it hasn't been easy. And again, I put together a sevens tournament every year, and you can't make everybody happy. Somebody's always going to be angry about a gap between games, or what time their first game is, or about their pool. Once the rugby gets started, everybody forgets all about that, and I think it'll be a really fun weekend. I'm going to try and get up there on Sunday. I know Charlie's going to try and get up there as well.
Definitely a lot going on. I have a coordinator who's out here really trying to make it like one of the best tournaments. So he's got color guard, and he always comes up with something new. And I'm like, we're not World Cup rugby. How's
the facility? I don't know this facility, so you have to tell us about it.
Davis Park is pretty nice. They have like football fields that are rarely used. Soccer fields over there as well. But the pitch that we got has 3 fields all in one area, 2 parallel and 1 perpendicular to the back side of it.
Nice.
And they're all right there, central located, bathrooms, stands, everything is located right there. And it's pretty well kept area, well kept facility. It's really a sports complex. So before you get there's baseball fields on one side, there's soccer fields further back, like 8-field soccer fields complex over there in the back as well. So
nice.
Pretty nice. We kind of lucked out. Like, we were happy that we actually were able to get that area.
There's Charlie with some kind of Google images that you managed to pull up.
But it's really we looked it over. Pretty nice, well kept, maintained area. Drains really well, especially for Florida rain. So we should have some good fast rugby out there. And talking with the city, thanks to St. John's County, we talked to their Parks and Recreation Department, everything, explained the tournament, and they were really excited to try to do something bigger and better next year. They're thinking like, hey, can we get something going for next 5 years, like consecutive?
So, I think it's always good to get some representative rugby in, before the kids go out for summer, and some of them go to camp. And, as Nigel was saying, with the RCTs gone now, this is going to be and Charlie was saying the Atlanta thing, I guess, isn't happening at the end of May. Hopefully, Jaguares will get to play some more stuff in June. But obviously, kids go away on vacation, and if the parents are spending money on that always seems to come before rugby, unfortunately. But I think the end of May, right before Memorial Day, is a good sort of time. It gives you a couple of weeks after the state championships, and kids are still in the mood for rugby.
And usually that's around the time that national tournament talk is happening, right?
Yes.
So start getting guys into post Florida rugby mode. start getting teams kind of playing a little bit longer, because seems like we're off timing with everybody else when they start and we start and we're ending and they're
that's
just
what Nigel
starting.
and I were talking about.
Yeah, a lot of teams want to come play us and they say, hey, can we come down? And we're like in mid-season. We have a schedule. We're already going. So we can either play them before or after.
Yeah, it's one of the problems of this country. It's just too damn big. And everybody's on different
Ross,
pages.
can I add something here?
Go ahead, Nigel. Yeah. Now that you're done socializing.
Sorry, I lost you. I lost you for a while there. Sorry, Aaron. I missed half of what you said. So if I contradict anything or repeat it, it's my fault. Fine. Memorial Day weekend, 29th and 30th, there's actually a big youth tournament
in North Carolina. Oh my God. He froze.
He froze at a very this is the problem when you live in the middle of the woods, Charlie.
Yeah.
In the middle of the South. We'll leave him up there. Don't kick him out. Leave him up like that. Oh, he's back. We lost you.
Yeah, I think what Aaron was referring to not many teams.
We got. Do they have Wi-Fi in South Carolina, Charlie? Has it reached there yet?
I don't know, man.
I'm going there this Sunday to watch the soccer game. So.
Good luck.
All right. Well, we'll bring Nigel back if he gets his internet connection sorted out at some point. He's a disgrace. Anyway, Aaron, good stuff, mate. I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a nice little showcase. As you said, that we can't figure out the name of this thing. We saw two different names on the graphic that Charlie put up, but it's something about a showcase and an invitational in either order. But
yeah, Florida Invitational Rugby Showcase.
There we go.
That's where we thought it would be best.
Furs. We're just going to call it Furs from now on, Charlie. It's right next to Swiffle. It's the opposite corner of the state from Swiffle.
The Swifties.
But we like these four. We like TFRO, and TFRO will have some kind of presence there in 10 days or so. Nigel, let's try again. You and your useless self-service there in the mountains.
Yeah.
This is your last chance, so go on.
Okay, I was going to say, I think what Aaron was referring to is the national tournament, which is the National Invitation Tournament. There's not been many Florida teams there that I can recall, and I've been refereeing there for the last 7-8 years at the various venues.
I think Naples went once.
Naples did go one time, I think.
Once.
Yeah, you actually have to apply to go to that. So, I mean, that's one of those things, and you get the teams from all over the country, and Xavier, Herriman from Utah are very good, various other teams from the West Coast, so on and so forth. But I just mentioned that there's the Queen City Bonanza, which is a big high school event, Memorial Day weekend, the 29th and 30th of this month of May in Charlotte, but registration deadline is this Sunday.
All right. So send Charlie the info, Nigel, and he'll post it on all the socials, and we'll see if we can get any Florida teams that want to go up and participate in that. That'd be awesome. And again, I'm not sure. We lost Gavin, so I was going to ask him kind of what the Jaguares have planned after this tournament. I don't know if Aaron knows. Aaron, do you know what the Jaguares have planned after this one?
After this one, I've heard the conversations about trying to do Atlanta again. I don't know if that's going to happen. So they're looking further down the line. North Carolina and maybe even something in Salt Lake. I don't know. I hear a lot of rumors about different, events happening.
They seem to be going to North Carolina in June.
North Carolina in June is the plan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do have that on your notes. I do see that, Charlie. Very good. Listen, I think regional stuff is the key for now, right? Nationals, we can't really think about that at the moment. Perhaps next year, but I think regional stuff is the way to go.
Chris says
the Jaguares plan on attending, so maybe we'll see them up there.
Well, as you see, this is very dynamic. As Aaron was saying, the schedule has changed from totally from 1 week to the other one, and we still don't know how it's going to look. So,
yeah, everything is always changing here. Well, gentlemen, thanks for joining us tonight. Nigel, thanks for chatting as always from South Carolina. Aaron, good luck on that 22nd and 23rd, and I look forward to if I don't get out there to hearing great things from that event. And Nigel should be refereeing, so we can we'll be watching Nigel on the live stream.
Okay. Awesome. Hey, I didn't say I was going there, man. I said I could help you out. I may end up in Jacksonville that weekend.
Exactly. I'm sure we'll use you in some capacity, Nigel.
Yeah, use being the right term.
Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers, boys.
All right, cheers.
All right, Charlie, good stuff there from that. I'm looking forward to that. I think it's exciting stuff. See how the Jaguares do against the Tigers.
You see, it's really tough, the organizing a tournament. I did not know that it started just by, the Tigers and Raleigh asking Jacksonville to come to play. So then the guy says, oh, well, if about two teams, let's do a tournament. And then they start adding on.
No, it's going to be fun stuff. Hopefully we can get a solid stream going and everybody can watch.
I think we should have these tournaments more often than we have, which is never.
All right, Charlie's offering to organize a tournament in Miami, he just said. All right.
Exactly.
Speaking of tournaments, let's look at the sevens are coming up, Charlie. They were supposed to start on the 22nd with some high school stuff, but that's just been scrapped because Jaguares and sevens don't go together. So let's look at our Florida Sevens series. Surf and Sevens, the tournament that I run on June 5th in West Palm.
Is that the best one?
I mean, I think I'm not going to say it's the best. I think it's the biggest over the years. We had 32 teams one year. I don't know if any of these other teams, maybe Barefoot beats that, but that's more of a social tournament. It has their own, special aura to it. I think as grass tournaments go, we normally have one of the biggest fields. We'll see if that happens this year. 2 weeks after that, we got Rusted Knight Sevens, which is obviously the former Todd Miller. I'm hearing there's going to be prize money offered for that one, so that's going to be interesting. And then we have July 10th. Oh no, I missed the June 12th. Charlie's graphic is all over the place. June 12th is the high school sevens, which I think there's like a 2-tournament high school series, which is mine, followed by Spaceship on the 12th. So, and then Rusted Knights, and then back down here in the south for Fiji Sevens on July 10th at Amelia Earhart, and then over to the West Coast the week after that for Gulf Coast Sevens in St. Pete. And then obviously the grand finale on the beach. I'm not sure which part of Fort Myers Beach it's going to be on. We used to have so much fun when it was at the Holiday Inn, but they kicked us out a couple of years ago. So it's going to be somewhere on the beach. I hear they're building a Margaritaville, Charlie. They're building a Margaritaville hotel on the beach in Fort Myers.
Okay.
But then it's not going to be open for this year, that's for sure. So there's your sevens tournaments. If you're interested in participating in any of those tournaments, I think FloridaRugby.org or Charlie's website will have all the information. I'm going to say go to Charlie's website first. Because
you have your own website. What do you mean? The surfingsevens.com.
Oh, we do have surfingsevens.com as well, yes. Or you can find us on Facebook. Most of the events will be on Facebook as well. So if you want to come down and play some rugby, if you're in a place where they don't have any rugby, then come down and play. And it's a fun time. Hopefully the storms stay away. That's normally the only thing that wrecked my tournament the last two times it's happened, because we didn't have it last year, obviously, but storms have wrecked my tournament in the afternoon. And there's my information. Reasonably priced.
Very cheap.
If you get in early, you save 10%. If you get in before the 28th, if you pay before the 28th, that is. So discounts for multiple teams from one club, discounts for teams coming from out of state. So you can see my email there. Drop me an email and we can get it going. We did have a team coming from England, but they unfortunately had to pull out yesterday because.
Oh, they did?
Yes, because the UK did not open up the USA for non-quarantine travel. So if people had to they opened up to other countries except the US because, the US doesn't think this is serious, unfortunately. So if they came here, they would have to go back in quarantine. So people have to work, etc. So that they're not coming this year. I take that back. They're not coming to my tournament. They may be looking at coming to something in late July, August, so either St. Pete or Barefoot. This is Birmingham, Moseley. So hopefully we'll see them in Florida later in the summer if the travel situation clears up. What have we got to do, Charlie? We're almost done, I think. We've got an hour. Not too bad.
Yeah.
You did want to show a nice photo of the team photos. Now, team photos in rugby and soccer are a big thing. And seems like some Florida teams don't like to do it, but
most
okay.
Most Florida teams don't do it. And of course, you go to people's houses and you see these very nice pictures from 10, 20 years ago.
Yes.
And you're just wondering, why don't we do this anymore? And the only team that I have seen, at least, I may be wrong, but is Boca. They actually. So
look at that! What a beautiful team shot. I'm going to give them a bit of grief for that front row. If the front row was a little more to the right, it would have been perfect. It's a little off kilter. As a photographer, Charlie, you should appreciate my skills there. That front row should be a little more to the right as we're looking at it. But other than that, awesome stuff from the Buccaneers.
And they take of each individual. These are all the kids from the club, but they take pictures of each team also, of course.
Yep, I can see the 19s. They got some big boys at the back there, and the 16s and 19s in front of that, and then the 14s. I think they won a couple of state titles, didn't they, Charlie?
The U12s.
12s won. Okay.
The 12 won. Key Biscayne won the 14s.
Listen, Boca is doing it right. They're starting young. Key Biscayne really started that trend, and Wellington jumped in there, and Okapi as well. And so a lot of these teams understanding that if you start them younger, they'll stick around. And by the time they get to be 16, 17, they're going to be beasts like those boys at the top.
And good players.
Exactly. With ball handling skills.
And kicking skills.
Kicking. Charlie loves to kick. If you ever see Charlie in a rugby pitch and he's bored, he's kicking the ball around to himself.
Yeah.
Kicking is a big part of the game that gets neglected a little bit in the state of Florida, but that's all right. All right, Charlie. Is that it for today, I think? Next week, we promise, Paul Holmes of Tiger Rugby and of the World 10 Series. Perhaps he'll break some news to make up for missing today, and we'll be famous, Charlie, on the rugby in the rugby Twitterverse for breaking some news.
We'll be picked up by ESPN.
ESPN. It'll be added at the last minute, like everything that every piece of rugby that ESPN Plus decides. We're showing it, and they announce it the day before. But yeah, keep watching MLR, everybody. I think it was some exciting. I think this past weekend was the most. I think every game was decided by less than 10 points. I think, if not 5 points. So it was a really exciting. We're getting going in the season now. I'm not sure if the Malachi 7 stuff is being streamed this year, but if Charlie finds that, this weekend, if Charlie finds that, I'm sure we'll post it on his Rugby FL page so you can see if Malachi gets some action over there in England, which I'm sure he will.
Oh, yeah.
It's more of a warm-up thing, and then hopefully we'll see some information on that tournament, that quote tournament in late June in Los Angeles that Cagney Coburn was begging for information about, but obviously I just read a thing that said they haven't released the full info yet. But everything's kind of still in flux as we're waiting for this pandemic to really start going downhill in a good way with the stats, etc. So thanks for the few that joined us tonight. Appreciate you. I apologize for the late change in subject, but Paul Holmes will be back with us next week, and we can perhaps preview Surf and 7 stuff at that time. We should have a little more information on who's going to be playing. We need more teams. I know everybody's, we're going to be there. And then, in the last minute, get your team entered. I can't guarantee if I get 4 teams in the bracket and there's a 5th team shows up, there's no guarantee I'm going to let that 5th team play. Don't mess with my even number brackets, Charlie.
Maybe you need some prize money there.
Listen, we're a fundraising effort in that, all the money goes to the Florida FAU Rugby Alumni Foundation. So we are a fundraising effort. But maybe down the road.
You just give them the check, but you don't let go. You say, okay, let's keep it here.
I'll send it to you in cryptocurrency down the road.
Yeah.
But good stuff, Charlie. Thanks as always. Thanks to everybody who showed up tonight, Nigel and Aaron, and we'll give Gavin a C+ for trying.
Yeah, he tried.
We got to teach him how to learn Wi-Fi, but obviously. You can catch all previous episodes of Talking Florida Rugby occasionally on rugbyfl.com/TFRO on our YouTube channel. And Charlie will throw this podcast up in audio format this evening. So you can catch us on all your popular podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. What's the name of mine is called Overcast. It's really good.
Overcast.
It's a really good podcast app. And we're on there as well. There's a bunch of them out there. We'll see you next week. Charlie, thanks as always, and thanks for everybody tuning in. We'll see you with Paul Holmes, I promise.
Yes.
Next Tuesday.
He confirmed. Thank you, Ross.
See you, Charlie.
Bye-bye.